Welcome to the Common Man Football Show. My name is James Coburn, and today's episode we're talking about the Miami Dolphins versus New York Jets Week 3 matchup based on analytics. And of course, each week I collect all of the current 2017 NFL team data in order to analyze and project potential NFL performance. We are 2 weeks into the season, so it's not the biggest sample size ever. However, there will always be little nuggets of truth in every sample of data you see. It's just a matter if that little nugget of truth continues to be the same throughout the season, which is why I hope you stick around to see what the nuggets could be with this week's matchup. And if you're new to the channel and you're not familiar with any of the terms and definitions will be in the description. So any of the sort of stuff that I'm talking about right now, if you're not familiar with it, and that other sort of stuff, just go to the description and all the terms and definitions will be there for you to get that. So getting into this matchup, when it comes to the basic information compared to both these teams, the Dolphins are favored over the Jets in this particular matchup overall. A big reason is because of the offense of the Dolphins. Now, again, the one thing I want to keep in mind as I talk about this is that the Dolphins have only played 1 week of NFL football, so all of this information is based on 1 week of football, whereas the Jets is based on 2 weeks of football. So keep in mind that, again, as more games happen, as the season starts to kick into high gear, you're going to have a larger sample size, and as a result, there's going to be more relevant information. There's going to be a pattern starts to emerge. After each week, stuff gets tuned a little bit and tuned a little bit and tuned a little bit. Injuries happen, things get worse, etc., etc. So that's one thing I want to kind of preface this. But based on how well the Jets performed in the last 2 weeks and how well the Miami Dolphins performed last week, the Dolphins' offense is just better compared to the Jets' offense, which should not be that surprising, but it is what it is when it comes to this particular matchup. The Dolphins' offense has been significantly better. They've actually been one of the better teams in the NFL when it comes to their ability to create first downs overall as an offense compared to the Jets. And defensively, it actually does favor the Jets a little bit, defensively speaking, but very slightly. The Jets and the Dolphins are two of the worst defenses in the NFL when it comes to preventing first downs on defense. However, the offense of the Dolphins is just favored. On top of that, when you look at the other sort of offensive scores, the Dolphins have been very good in terms of preventing turnovers, while the Jets are pretty much below average when it comes to turnover percentage on offense. So that's another thing that kind of favors them for the most part as well. On top of that, the Jets have been allowing a lot of sacks compared to the rest of the NFL. Whereas the Dolphins have been preventing more sacks than the rest of the NFL. So they've been above average in terms of preventing sacks from happening. And in terms of offensive scoring, the Dolphins have been one of the best in the NFL when it comes to scoring on offense on a per-drive basis compared to the Jets, who have been one of the worst. Now, when you get to the defensive side of the ball, things start to, they blur, really. The Dolphins are a little bit better at preventing points per possession compared to the Jets. But they pretty much are the same in terms of forcing turnovers. Both these teams have just not been very good in terms of creating turnovers on defense. Both of these teams have not been very good when it comes to creating sacks on defense. Both of these teams have not really been very good in terms of getting interceptions, except for the Jets, who have been slightly better in terms of getting interceptions. When you look at special teams, the Jets have been better when it comes to punt return yardage. The Dolphins have been better when it comes to kick return yardage. The Jets have been better when it comes to preventing punt return yardage, but the Dolphins have been much better when it comes to preventing kick return yardage. I think this slightly favors the Dolphins, but it's pretty even. When it comes to field goal percentage, they're pretty much the same. When it comes to extra point percentage, they're pretty much the same. But the Jets do have a slightly better punting average compared to the Dolphins. So punting is on the Jets side versus the Dolphins side. But again, the data favors the Dolphins mainly because the Dolphins offense has been able to put points on the board, while the Jets defense has not, the Jets offense, has not been able to put points on the board, nor has the Jets defense been able to prevent points from being put up on the board. So that is kind of the major factor between these teams. That's why the Dolphins are favored in this matchup. Now, When we get to other sort of splits, so this is looking at completion percentage of the Dolphins offense versus the Jets defense. For the most part, the Jets defense actually have an advantage when it comes to first down situations, but that quickly goes away when it comes to second down situations and third down situations. Again, this is only based on 1 week worth of data, but the Dolphins last week were not the best when it comes to first down situations, but they were pretty dang good when it comes to second down situations and third down situations when it comes to completion percentage. And the Jets have been pretty lackluster when it comes to preventing second down and third down kind of situations. Then when we get to the Jets offense versus the Miami Dolphins defense, the Jets offense is better in terms of first down situations, second down situations, and third down situations. The Dolphins defense last week did not perform that well, and as a result, this is kind of where things stack up. So the Jets offense, surprisingly, will probably have some success in terms of getting completions against the Dolphins if the Dolphins continue to play the way that they played last week. Then we get to rushing situations. So this is looking at first down situations, second down situations, and third down situations when it comes to creating first downs with the rush. The Dolphins are better than the Jets when it comes to first down situations with the rush, third down situations with the rush, but not so much with second down situations. I give this to the Dolphins in this particular situation because of how well the Dolphins actually do in terms of third down situations with the rush and first down situations with the rush. But there is, again, it's only 1 week worth of data, but I do give the advantage to the Dolphins when it comes to their rushing offense. When it comes to the Jets rushing offense compared to the Dolphins rushing defense, the Jets rushing offense is significantly better when it comes to first down situations, second down situations, and third down situations. The Dolphins rush defense was just not it was not a very good debut for the rushing defense of the Dolphins. So that's just kind of how things stack up there. And then when we get to the passing situations, which are by far the most important when it comes to winning football games, you win most of the time having a good passing offense and the ability to do what you need to do with the passing offense. And in this particular matchup, the Dolphins passing offense beats the Jets when it comes to first down situations, second down situations, but the Jets do have a slight advantage when it comes to third down situations overall. So that's the only sort of area where they have sort of an advantage is in terms of third down situations. In terms of the Dolphins were just not the best in the NFL when it comes to just overall ability to create first downs on third down. So that's basically how that kind of stacks up there. And then when you look at the Jets offense versus the Dolphins defense, the Jets offense has an advantage on first down, second down, but do not have an advantage when it comes to third down situations. The Dolphins have been one of the best in the NFL when it comes to preventing conversions with the pass on third down, but they've also been one of the worst in the NFL when it comes to preventing first down and second down situations overall. So ultimately, how do I feel about this matchup? I think based on the data, it favors the Dolphins. I kind of go with the data. I just think that even though this is only based on 1 week of the data for the Dolphins have shown to be able to put points on the board. The Jets have not been able to do that. They've not been able to prevent points, nor have they been able to put up points in the last 2 weeks. And this Dolphins offense is coming to town. I am a believer in the Dolphins offense. I think they'll be able to put up points. I think this might be a sloppy game for both. It's going to be it's the Jets versus Dolphins, so I think there's going to be some sloppiness to the games like this, overall. But I do think that the data favors the Dolphins. I think I'm going to go with the Dolphins in this matchup based on how well the Jets have been playing. And ultimately, that's kind of how I rolled down on this. So again, of course, my name is James Coburn. You can find my work at draftcoburn.wordpress.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at Geometrics. And if you like this content and you want more content like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Share this video as well with anybody that you know, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.